Ciao, I'm Mario, a Swiss car guy on YouTube, and it's been a while since I made my last video. One of the main reasons of that is that since I bought my house last year, I've been doing some major and some minor jobs around the house which take a lot of time. Time I could have used working on cars and making videos. But since the house has taken up so much of my time, I figured now is a good moment to show you what I've been up to with the house. So this is a house update. Let's start with my office, which is very messy. I do a lot of tinkering here, but I added these two desks that I got for free at work. I didn't steal them. I installed a vacuum robot for the upper floor. This, I think, is a Dreamy D10S or something like this. So it's one that just vacuums and doesn't mop because it's all area rug here. I did try to clean it up a bit. So there are the shelves I put up, my Atmos clock, of course, but it's still a work in progress up here, nothing special. I finally finished putting up all the shelves here in the little closet. It's a total of 10 shelves. Some are split in half, but 10 shelves, which means 10 hours to assemble them. But this is done, so now I've started filling them badly. There is still a lot of empty shelves that I can use better. So a lot of stuff can still go in here, but you know, putting stuff away, making order takes time. But I think I'm already at a good level here. An important thing I did up here with the help of my cousin, I fixed the toilet, which at first water was running continually, so I replaced the flush valve. Then the water didn't flow continually, and then it didn't flow at all, because when you would flush, not enough water would come out of the toilet. It would just be a little bit of water, so not enough to use the toilet. So together with my cousin, we took it off the wall, and then we found that the pipe that pipes the water into the toilet was completely clogged with lime scale. So we declogged it, put the toilet back up, and now I think it works. I'm also happy to say that I finally found a use for this unnecessary space, this completely useless interior balcony I have here. I turned it into my training area. So I put my my cardio machine up here, and in order to be entertained while doing this tedious and boring thing, I put up a TV. I think it's a 55-inch TV, 55-inch sharp Android TV that costs like $280. So they are very cheap. And even the wall mount, I remember wall mounts being very expensive years ago, and this entire wall mount even came with an HDMI cable, cost like $28, and it's very sturdy, and the TV can, you know, fold back if necessary if I need the space. So yes, I got my little exercise area up here with my Bowflex trainer, which I bought used. This cost like $300. Never buy fitness equipment new, because people usually buy it after New Year's Eve when they're all full of good intentions, use it for a week, and then they'll never use it again. So you can get these lightly used devices for almost no money. If you remember from my previous video, here the kitchen, I like my kitchen, but the worktop of the kitchen was wrong. So that part back there wasn't properly sized, so there was a gap to the window, and also on that one back there and on this one there was a text embedded into the stone, so they had to replace everything, and they did. So now it's all good. I bought a new dining table and chairs. My old table was okay, but it was smaller and it was glass, and I wanted a wood table, and this is larger and it fits more people and fits the space better, so it's all good. The balcony and the window next to it got curtains, because these are the south-facing windows, and the building next door has been finished, so people moved in, so they had a bit too much of a good sideline into my house. So I put up these curtains, but I still have all the others to put up. And on this window, I didn't just put up the curtains, I also installed a motor for the roller shutter, because originally it had a handle, and I removed the handle. I placed 3D printed some covers that I put on, and then I installed the motor. I had the electrician, when we did renovation, put in some electrical connection for a motor in the future. So I had to do some awkward drilling and stuff, but I managed to wire it all up, install it, and it works. And speaking of roller shutters, in my guest room here, my little guest room, my little cleaning utensils room, when I bought the house, when it was the shit room, the roller shutter had completely detached and had fallen down and was lying somewhere on the ground. So I figured I need to fix it one day. But this house has exterior roller shutters, so they're not accessible from inside, so you need to go from outside. So I always thought I need to get some sort of a lift from outside and then do the work. But then when I did the other one, when I put the motor into the other one, I realized that maybe I could just get it off the tracks and then do it still from the inside. So that's what I did. I fixed it. And not only did I fix it, I spent hours and hours cleaning the old shutter and then making an inventory of how many new of the little bars I need, only to realize that a complete new shutter costs 49 euros in Germany. So I bought a complete new roller shutter, I installed it, and I think it works. I also bought a new bed. It's enormous, but I needed a new bed. The old one was breaking apart, and this is as large a bed as I could fit in here, and that's what I want in a bedroom. I want space to sleep and not to do other stuff. In the bathroom, I threw out the broken old washing machine and instead bought a fill and drain kit from my Roborock Revo. So now I hooked it up to the water line, and now it fills and drains itself, so it's very hand-off. The only thing I have to do, like once a month, clean the tray. Otherwise, the thing works by itself. I even put a little water leak sensor right behind it, so that if anything were to leak, I get a notification. I cleaned up my sunroom, which last time I made an update video, I think I used it as a storage space. It was full of cardboard boxes. Now it's not, so I have this table in there. I even installed my mobile split air conditioning in here, because in the summer it gets really warm, and with this thing it keeps it nice and cool. There's an electric heater for winter and the same thing. This is my outdoor sofa, which can be like put up, stacked together in order to save space. Otherwise it's outside, because of course I cleaned also the patio. I power washed it. I threw away the gigantic planter that was there. I emptied it, then I broke it up in pieces, and then I threw it away. Turns out it was asbestos, so it cost extra to throw it away. But anyway, I got rid of it. I put an umbrella on. And another thing I did, I fixed the basin. If you look here, down here, this part of the patio used to be like a basin. It was hollow and there was nothing inside it, and it went low. I think they wanted to make a pond there, and I needed to fill it up, because first it was dangerous. Somebody could fall inside there. Then there was stuff growing up. I had like a little walnut tree. To get that out, it took me hours, because it had roots going all the length, so 6 meters of length. Weird. And also I wanted to have it level, because down there I can take off the railing and then come up with my little forklift and then bring stuff up when I need to do that. So I needed to fill that in. It was my intention originally to fill it in with gravel and sand, and then put slabs onto it, like patio slabs. But then I calculated how much I would need, how much gravel and sand, and apparently it's 10 cubic meters, which is about 15 tons. So I thought, underneath is my garage, I'd rather not put 15 tons of stuff on top of it, even though it probably would have worked. So instead I bought these pedestals, these adjustable pedestals, which are apparently just for patios. So I put the pedestal in each corner, and then, a slab on top of it, and then this is basically now hollow underneath. What I also realized is that there was no drain. I mean, there was a drain, but it was right here underneath the floor. So I think they really wanted to make a pond or something because it would only drain when the water was this high. And this doesn't work because I don't want this to fill up with water. So I had to drill sideways into the concrete wall next to the garage to realize my own very janky drain, but at least it doesn't fill with water. But I filled this, it works. One time a paver broke when a friend came to visit. That was not great, but I replaced that paver. So it should actually be all right. And also I have a patio I can use now. If we come to the outside, you will realize two things. First, this metal stuff that was over here where vines would grow up have left. I've cut them all off because they were for nothing and they were only good for having vines go over and making everything look messy. So I got rid of them. I cut them all off. I wasn't sure whether the fence would hold, but it does. So I got rid of them, but also I got rid of two trees. There was a tree growing here right next to the barbecue and one there, and I got rid of them. I cut them off. It was a lot of work, along with a lot of other brush and stuff, but I got rid of them, which is good. Down here in the garage, not much has changed. I tidied up a bit. I put up some workbenches and stuff back there, but I haven't done a lot. I had to fix the garage door opener a couple of times because these garage door openers, they have like a little cam on the belt. So it's on the cam belt, they have a belt. Anyway, on the belt they have a little cam that tells the opener the absolute position, and on mine it had fallen off, so I couldn't learn the new end stops and it would keep crashing and not closing fully. So I 3D printed these, and I have a few handy because they're just fixed there with cable ties because I refuse to spend $50 on the official cam. So I 3D printed these here, and then I will replace them occasionally when they don't work. And I didn't just install these two workbenches here, which is good, so I have space to work on my metal bandsaw that I bought at Lidl. So it worked great for cutting up all the metal. And I bought a long piece of board so that I could put it up here, because these irons, these angles here, they were already here, these brackets, so I only needed to put up the boards. I needed to buy a board that's long enough that I obviously cannot transport in my Lexus, so I had to have the transit from work, put these up, and now I have more storage up here, like stuff I don't use a lot. I mean, more tiles for the house, which I probably never use. They're up here, out of the way, and down here I still have a bit of work area, and I put up this here, and it's starting to come together. I also put up radar sensors. I have them all over my house, but I thought it would be nice to have them in the garage too, and I bought these. These are the little Wen-Shi sensors, and they are quite amazing. They cost like $15, but they work perfectly. They are Zigbee, so if you're looking for cheap radar presence sensor, these are 24 gigahertz, so they are the latest kind. These are fantastic. As soon as they will be available in the format to go into my ceiling, I will replace all of them with these because they are great. But if you look up there, you can see an access point and a switch. So yeah, I put up an access point in the garage, and the switch there is to feed my surveillance cameras because I have surveillance cameras all over. And they go outside and they cover basically all of the driveway, which is important to me. Here you can also see my little robotic mower, which usually is upstairs, but now it's snowing, so it's down here. I had to install an outlet to connect the home base and everything. Yeah, that's one more task. And there is my wood chipper. This used to be my least favorite room, and now it's not anymore because something is missing. My wood burning heating, because it was replaced with a heat pump, which this is the inside unit here, and this is a heat pump boiler. So the boiler is separate from the heat pump. The heat pump just does the heating and the boiler does the hot water. It works great. I don't have to burn wood every day. It's fantastic. I have so much more free time because of that. And not only that, and I also have a lot of more room in here because it used to be full with wood. There was the boiler. The heating was really large there. This is actually a big improvement. In this corner, I now even have the space for a washing machine and a dryer, which I will put up at some point. This is an air-to-water heat pump, so there's an external unit outside, and this is the internal unit that does whatever it does. It just works. Over here is my server cabinet, a little 19-inch rack that I have my home server in it. This is running Home Assistant. This is running a bunch of other stuff, and even have a little keyboard and a fold-out screen for it to control it, but it's also all remote. Here is my network video recorder, which records all the feeds from my cameras, from Reolink. And then here is my switches. I originally had these two Zyxel switches, which are, I think, 12 port each. And I thought, oh, I have more than enough ports forever, until I realized I didn't, especially if you start putting up cameras and stuff. So I needed a bigger power over Ethernet switch. And I found out that you can get these here. This is an old Huawei Enterprise switch, which is 24 ports of PoE, but you can also have 48 ports and stuff like that. This cost like $60 used. And these are switches that cost thousands when they were new. I mean, they might not be the most energy efficient, but if you just need 1 gigabit of PoE, something like this is fantastic. And they also have SFP plus ports, meaning you can connect them to your other equipment with 10 gigabit fiber, so no problem. So this is my setup, my little network cabinet, where everything goes sort of neatly together. My cabling is not great, but I think it will never change. Another thing is the loose cables here, they are still here because I'm not sure whether I'm going to move this over, because what is over there? Well, not much. As you can see, this is where my buffer used to be for the old wood burning heating, and it basically still is, because if you see up here, the lines are still there, the buffer is still back there. So the heating company that installed the heating, they said, well, if you want us to remove that buffer, it'll cost you around $2,000. So they said, if you want to try it yourself, you might be cheaper. So I figured I will remove the boards, see what's underneath, and then see if I can remove the buffer myself and save myself maybe $1,000 or $2,000 or something like that. So this is still the original buffer. I have no idea how large it is. I have to basically undo the thing and see what's behind it. And then once I remove this, my plan is to move the whole network cabinet into there so it's more isolated, especially if this is becoming a laundry room. So I left the cables long so I could move them over. I even have access now to the crawl space underneath the exterior stairs, which is now a garage for my wheelbarrow. We are now in the small garage where I didn't do basically anything really, especially the upstairs where there's a little room upstairs that I haven't even cleaned yet. But one thing I've done here in the small garage is I replaced this lock, because even though I had a tub full of keys when I bought the house, I didn't have a key for this lock. So I had to basically break it off. I think I used a sledgehammer for that. And then I put in a new lock so that I can actually open this door. I don't need it, but hey, I can do it now. The bicycle is still here. I still have it. I haven't used it much, but I still have it. Here you can see the heat pump working. It's a 12 kilowatt unit. This is one using, I think, R12 as a refrigerant. I originally wanted to have an R290 propane heat pump because that's the most efficient, the newest generation. But because of where I installed it, in Switzerland, regulation is that if you have a heat pump containing propane, it must have at least 1 meter of distance from any opening. So 1 meter of distance from the door, 1 meter of distance from the window, which I didn't have. So I had to resort to an older style R12 heat pump because this is the location. It's out of the way and the noise, nobody cares. So this is the right place for a heat pump. Interestingly enough, the little tray underneath to collect the the defrost water is frozen over, so now everything is going down here and freezing my driveway. But yeah, I had to add the tray myself because the heating company didn't do that. So I went with a cheap heating company. I'm very happy with what they did, but you know, some things you gotta do yourself. Another thing you might notice out here is that the shanty town is gone. There used to be some barracks containing woods and junk down here, and I broke it all down and threw it away. So this is now clear. I have more space to maneuver. I still have to figure out what I'll do with this little piece of earth. Maybe I'll fill it in with gravel or something, because yeah, it doesn't look that nice. Now it's snow covered, so it looks all right. Also, the bushes here where the shanty town was, you can see they are all basically dead up until the height where they were covered. I don't think they will ever recover, but you know, taking them off and replacing them would be like a lot of work, and I like that they shield me from the road, so they will stay like this for a while. Down here is another piece of property where I cut down some brush and trees and stuff to make it, you know, a bit more, you know, I'm not saying presentable, but the trees were leaning into the road, so they were blocking it to a part. So I had to cut it all down, and I had the saws and everything out. I mean, now I own many saws now, so I cut it down to make it a bit more manageable, but this is still like, not very nice. I installed more outdoor lights and a camera. So now I have lighting when I go empty my letterbox. But now we come to my latest achievement, which has taken me a lot of time, but I finally managed to automate this gate. I even put a little signal lamp out there, and you see it works perfectly basically. It even stops at the right moment, right? Yep, and I think it will close also. I even installed a light beam for safety so that it won't close if a car is here or a person. So even that works. However, I have to tell you, installing the light beam took as much as installing the whole thing, because I had to run cables and everything. So yeah, that was a lot of work. Let's close it again. Let me show you how I did it. So what I did is I bought one of those electric sliding gate openers and mounted it upside down. Mounting it upside down had some challenges because the cables usually come out of the top, and I didn't want it out of the top because water ingress. So I modified it to have the cables come out of the bottom. I also conformally coated the PCB. I closed the top. I put in a cover I 3D printed, and I had to do these the brackets to mount them. I repurposed all the brackets I already had. I just cut them to length, drilled the holes, and then painted them. So this is what I did it. I also, the rails, I actually rivet nutted them into the door. So I drilled holes into the door, I inserted rivet nuts, and then I attached the rails. So it works fairly well, I have to say. I also put in a little button to facilitate the opening and closing. Up here is where the wiring comes in, goes into this box. I repurposed the wiring for the extractor because that's a switched outlet. So it's switched so I can turn the whole system off. Like if I go away and I want it to be powerless so nobody can just hack it and open it. These, by the way, are the conduits, the pipes for the heat pump, which run all through the garage, through the workshop up here, and then go all the way around and enter here into my heating room up there. next to my access point. No, actually, they enter down here, where you see some new wheels. Because you see, my Trans Am recently passed its inspection without problems. Well, I did have to do some cleaning, but it passed without problems, so I thought I'd buy some new wheels. These are, you know, yeah, they are not in great shape, but they are like 40 years old, 30 years old, that thing. So yeah, but I will put new rubber on these at some point, and then, yeah, I'll put them on the Trans Am. So what's new in the workshop? Well, not that much, because all this work on the house, on the gate, has taken a lot of time, especially the gate. It was a lot of planning. Then I had to modify the opener because I wanted to make it as watertight as possible. Then I had to devise a way to route the cables, and even just putting the infrared safety light bar on, I had to route the cables down there through the walls and everything. It took a long time. So I think all in all, just the installation process of that thing was, I think, 3 straight days. So it's taken me like 24 hours of work just to install it. Then again, it didn't cost me that much, because I think all in it maybe cost me, with the opener, cables and consumables, maybe $350. And if I had to do a professional solutions, I think I might be more in the 10 times as much range. So I'm happy with that, but I haven't done a lot of work on cars. I did buy another tire balancer, because I still have my old Champ back there from 1984. It works, but it doesn't have an alloy wheel program. So it doesn't exactly know where you apply the weight. So it's always a bit of guesswork, and it takes multiple attempts. And I wanted to have something a bit more modern, more reliable. So I bought this Chinese unit one, a Maximum MZ760 DST balancing, just a random Chinese one. The thing is, it doesn't balance properly. I think it needs a calibration. I got the calibration weight and a wheel I borrowed in order to calibrate it, because you calibrate it with a wheel. But for the life of me, I cannot work out how to get it into calibration mode, because I do not have a manual for this machine, and also I cannot find the manual for the machine online. So yeah, I still have to try out, find if I can make it, and otherwise I get rid of the machine. It wasn't that expensive. It was like $360 or something like that. I also cleaned the little toilet in the workshop and made it usable. Of course, even here, I also added a light because it wasn't bright enough. Little overhead light there. Because originally there was just this bulb, and this wasn't bright enough, so I added this nice little long double light. So now I have a functioning toilet down in the workshop, which is great. But also this, I had to uninstall the flush valve, and I had to clean it because it was all lime scaled up, and so water would be continuously running, which doesn't work, so it wouldn't flush probably. But I managed to clean that one up and then put it back in. I had to do it on all the toilets in the building, but the one upstairs I had to replace completely because there was no fixing it. I did get another bicycle because it was very cheap. This is an electric bike, a normal one that's powered by like a 250 watt Bosch motor. It has a 400 watt hour battery. It's just a regular bike that I plan to take home down to Italy for my holiday. So I have an electric bike that I could use, which would be nice, because I had the chance to buy this brand new, very, very cheap, because these are still unsold post-COVID purchases. So our company bought a lot of bikes, and like all bicycle vendors, they couldn't get rid of them. So at some point they made a employee sale, and so I bought this bike for like $300, which is incredibly cheap. So I had to buy it, even though I already have an electric bike. And by the way, these are not shitty bikes. They are made by Atala in Italy. Atala is a great brand. They won the first Giro d'Italia. So even though, funny thing is, Atala themselves, post-COVID, I think they went almost into bankruptcy, because they also produced way too much and had too much stock, because they thought that after the pandemic everybody would keep on buying more bicycles like they did during the pandemic. Fools! My Corgi Master, my overcomplicated tire machine. I managed to break it again, because when I was breaking down the shanty town in front of the house, I had a lot of metal I had to throw away. So I ordered a container to throw all the metal away, and also I took the chance to throw out the old alloy wheels for the Lexus. The one which already managed to break the machine once. So I figured, hey, I play around with them once again. And again, I managed to jam the rim and then break the machine. This time I broke this thing. This centers the wheel onto the machine, and it snapped in half. I even have the piece still here. So this snapped in half. So I had to buy a new one and fix it. And I also had to get the broken piece out of the machine here. That was difficult. I disassembled most of the machine. And yeah, this machine is probably a bit overcomplicated for a DIYer like me, but it works. I fixed everything. The machine worked. I've used it since. I've changed tires on another car that I don't own. So no, there's that. And I also used the occasion to buy a new foot here for the bead pusher, because originally the machine came with this, and I replaced it with this from the later machines because it gets closer to the rim and does a better job of pulling down. And this was like, I think $15 for the new one, so it wasn't that expensive. But yeah, my Corgi machine is still going somehow. And yeah, this is basically the work I've been doing the odd tire change, and I cleaned up the Trans Am before the inspection, so it passed the inspection perfectly, except for one thing: the stupid highway toll sticker. Because apparently it's illegal to have an expired highway toll sticker on your windshield, because my cars now have digital ones, so I don't have to buy one for every car. I can just do it for the license plate, and then I have it, on every car the license plate is on. But they gave me an advisory, I need to remove it, otherwise it's illegal. But the car passed, everything was good, so that's why I bought the new wheels that I will fit at some point, probably in the spring. In order for me to install the gate opener, I also bought some new tools, among which is this Vivor magnetic drill, because I figured I could magnetically put it onto the gate and then easily, comfortably drill into the gate to do the holes I needed, which worked, because the magnet or the gate's magnetic force was not strong enough to really hold the drill steady, and therefore I had to still brace it and hold it. The other thing is this thing is incredibly heavy, so yeah. So I basically got this here, my pallet stacker, lifted it to the right height, had the drill on it sideways, and then drilled. I think in hindsight, a regular metal drill and a good step bit would have done the same job. But I bought this machine, it was cheap, it was like $150. And the other thing is, you see it's in pieces because I managed to drop it. Because at one point I was lowering the pallet, and the pallet got caught and I didn't understand it, and then the machine dropped down from about 2.5 or 3 meters, and it broke slightly. I managed to temporarily fix it in order to finish the job, but now I'm still need a new cable gland so I can fix it properly. And the machine still works, which is funny. This is being a cheap Chinese thing, you never know. And what's even funnier is where it landed in the concrete, it left a nice big dent. So it gouged the concrete. So even this machine survived, even if it broke a bit. The plastic cover here broke. I glued it back together. I reckon it will work again. I know it will work because I drilled at least 2 or 3 holes after that it already had fallen down. So yeah, these are the adventures of Mario working on stuff. Oh, and by the way, when I got rid of all the metal, I ordered a container to throw it all away. And then they gave me money because turns out I discarded 2 tons of metal, which, has scrap metal value. So I think I got $235 for my old scrap metal. So at least that's the thing. But I managed to get 2 tons of metal together from all the stuff that was around here. Crazy. Good. So I think that's it. I showed you all the updates, all the work I've done and I've had done. around the house and in the house. Anyway, I think this video has been long enough. I'll try to make more videos in the future, because now one of my biggest projects, the gate, is done. The heating is done. So now I maybe have to concentrate back on the cars, even because, you know, my Lexus is starting to act up. So I think I need to do some work on that car, or maybe something else. So subscribe to my channel if you want to see more in the future, maybe of the cars, the house, who knows what. And follow me on Instagram at SwissCarGuyMario, where I occasionally put up pictures, maybe even short video clips. But that's the end of the video. Share this video with anybody who would do something like this, who has a house, who wants to do house tasks, and who is interested in changing their heating or whatever. Keep in mind, Switzerland is particularly expensive, so not everything is comparable, but just this is my story. Maybe you can learn from it. Maybe you can do things better or worse. I have no idea. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.